One of the things I have found myself doing recently in my head, when awkward situations come up, I automatically say, no, I'm going home to sleep peaceful at night. I'm going home to sleep peaceful. I always say that, like lately, when certain situations happen that I feel is an awkward situation. And that takes me into this next episode. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. You're now tuned into my podcast. I'm SF Johnnie, Seriously Focused Johnnie. You were tuned in to Difficult People Chronicles. What's up, y'all? Today's episode is called "In Awkward Situations Do This." A lot of times we get into awkward situations, you know, and I'm going to just give you maybe three, where you have your regular friend group, and then there's one person that you and that person is at odds, enemies, and for some reason everybody knows that y'all don't get along, but you have one person that invites you somewhere and they know this person is going to be there, and it creates an awkward situation because you don't want to speak to them and they don't want to speak to you, and they looking at you all sorts of crazy all day, and you're sitting there and it's quiet. Like you could hear crickets. Why put yourself through that torture? Nowadays, they got Uber. Leave. Even if someone drove you and said, oh, you know how people put on a fake. I didn't know they were going to be here. Yes, you did. You always have an option. I tell people that all the time. A next situation is a person who, and this really happened, there was a guy who recently kept talking down to this girl, saying certain things. And then one day he turns around and he says, I would like to take you out on a date. And she was just like, what? And I said to her, there's no need for you to wrestle with your spirit. You know it's a no. Don't act in the flesh and be like, yeah, sure. Because he didn't mean to talk to me or hurt me and say certain things about me behind my back. Or go in and recall everything he done to you. No. It's no need to wrestle with your spirit. You don't want to go out and then next thing you know, you find out he's a total jerk. And then you beat yourself up. Like, why did I go? And that applies to men too. Don't do it to yourself. Awkward situations. When you around family members that you know don't like you. But then you're invited to like the family cookout or something like that. You know you'll be more at peace at home. Why do you do it to yourself? You could make your own hot dog and hamburger on the stove. If you got a backyard, you could grill chicken and all of that. Barbecue in your backyard. And go inside when you feel like it. And you don't have to deal with the arguing and the side eye, calling names and high blood pressure. You ain't got to deal with it. Why put yourself in awkward situations? In awkward situations, just say no. Choose not to participate. You always have an option. Leave. These are situations you should not be in. And here's something to think about. If you have to wrestle with your spirit, your face crunches up, you got to squint your eyes like, what? Then you shouldn't be there with that person or around the person. You shouldn't be in that situation. Don't let it be a situation where you feel some kind of way after the fact. Like you can't hold your head high because you know the bad decision you made. Remember Adam and Eve. Upon tasting the forbidden fruit, they felt an overwhelming sense of shame, embarrassment, like, why did I? To the point they tried to cover themselves with leaves. And then God came to them and was like, where are you? They was ashamed of what they did. They knew what God had told them not to do. They knew the order that God gave and said, don't. They knew what God said. They knew what they shouldn't have been doing, but they did it anyway. And shame came upon them. You know that there's certain rooms that you shouldn't be in, that God didn't want you to be a part of anyway. And these rooms are occupied by phony people and vultures who will violate your peace. Don't make it an awkward situation where you go into this room that you shouldn't be in, period, because it's dark, whole heap of dark people, and you participating in something that you shouldn't participate in. You do not want your spirit to grieve because of the decision you made that went left. You don't want to be wrestling with your spirit. Don't let your curiosity put you in a bad spot. Think about this. Curiosity could stress you out. That's just that's something to think about. Curiosity can stress you out. So don't get curious saying, I want to see what's going to happen. I want to know what's going to go on. I want to be around these people because we had fun in the past and maybe they have changed. It's either peace or drama. And understand this, there are people out there in the world who really want to see the drama because they have nothing going on in their life. They go to work, they go to their medical appointments, they go hang out with their boring family members, they go home and their spouse, they just stare at each other and talk about foolishness, other people's drama. They have nothing going on, nothing. And they go just to see the drama go down. They want it to go down. And they the first ones saying, oh my goodness, I didn't think this would happen. Yes, they did. They were the manipulators, drama planners, and the orchestrators in the background. So that's just something to think about. And that's something I had to say to myself the other day when something came up and the Holy Spirit said, no, no, no. Can't put yourself in awkward situations. Because sometimes you might go with good intentions somewhere or be around someone with good intentions because y'all have fun together. But then sometimes there's a master plan going on, a setup to get you out of alignment, out of position, out of the will of God. And you know the person is iffy. That person can't be trusted. That person done some things that made you raise your eyebrow or shake your head like, no. If they change, let that be on them. But don't put yourself in an awkward situation. So that's something to think about. And like I said in the beginning, one of the things I always say is, I want to sleep peaceful at night. So that means that I don't need to entertain foolishness that I'm going to bring home in my head and lose sleep. Yeah. So that's it for today. Check me out on YouTube, like, subscribe, click the notification for suggested topics, email me. Love me more and I love you more. Later.